Welcome back to another episode of The Hardcore Casual with your boy, Base the Kid. As always, please like and subscribe, share with a friend, colleague, relative, associate, enemy, any and all in between. I appreciate it. It's going to be a very quick one. A couple little bits and pieces that I figured let me talk about. Apologies if the lighting is a bit darker than usual. My little mini stage light that I have literally just busted. The wires just popped out. So yeah, I'm using natural room light and also the light on the camera phone, so hopefully it's enough. If not, apologies, it might be like this for about a week or so until I get a new light. But yeah, as I said, a few things to talk about, so without further ado, let's get into it. So a couple of days ago, Conor Ben decided to go on X and he's now called out Jon Jones. I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, everyone is running away from you, well, I want to run towards you. Like, I'm ready for that fight, so let's make it happen for boxing. You know, something along those lines. You know, yeah, you're a good champion, so like, I'd like to fight you. Eddie Hearn, in a couple of interviews, he didn't seem too keen on that one. Now, the way I kind of see it, I feel like there are some fighters that literally are told what to do by their promoters, and there are some fighters that tell their promoters what to do. Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury and Dillian White, Derek Chisora, I feel like they have that kind of cachet where they will tell the promoter, well, no, I want to fight this person, like, make it happen, or get me that option if you can, kind of thing. With Conor, I have a feeling like he has enough cachet to say that, but I feel like he's very much, you know, convinced of the best route and the best people to fight for his career and his development, both by his trainer Tony Sims and also Eddie. Look, these are the fights that we're going to get you where you kind of need to go, and I feel like Conor has that in his mind, but he's a little scrappy dude. He likes to just sort of bark and bite, and he'll go, you know, he'll bark after someone, but ultimately, if that's not the route that the team choose to go in, then maybe he'll go with them. But he's just up for going any which way, and he's very fiery, so he'll just shoot off at the mouth at times. I think this is one of those situations where, regardless of what he says on social media, unless like Boots Ennis ultimately calls him out and sends a contract for him that he actually sees and says, no, I want to take that fight, forget everything else, give me that fight, I think he will be talked out of that one extremely quickly. Now look, Conor's a very improved individual, you know, since obviously his debut when he started fighting, as opposed to where he's at now. He's got some very good attributes that could in fact cause Boots Ennis some problems or some things to have to figure out, but he's definitely not ready for that fight yet. And it's not even so much like the levels. I think this is one of those ones where Conor will, for the first time in his career, be in the ring with a legit puncher, like someone that is known for knocking people out. And I think that is one of the things that the team are trying to keep him away from at all costs for right now. When the time comes when you need to cash him out, or if you have him fighting someone that's way above his weight division, is different, because that's just a shot at greatness. If you win, you win. If you lose, it doesn't really damage your stock too badly. But in your own division, if you're fighting someone who's a big puncher, especially someone that's fresh and in the infancy, that could derail a lot of things. So I have a real strong idea that they will avoid that at all costs, because for right now at least, he is not ready for that fight. I think professionally, like mentally and physically. Boots Ennis is an extremely large welterweight. He realistically should probably be fighting at middleweight, and it's still a wonder how he's making 147, but you can see his frame, he's naturally a middleweight and probably could quite easily go up to super middle, like, you know, 4 or 5 years from now. So yeah, if I was Conor, I mean, okay, it's good to bark maybe, but for this one, yeah, bark behind the screen and not in person, because I don't think that's a problem that you want or need right now. I watched I think it's William Hill, but it's it's a Simon Jordan podcast, and the only reason I watched it is because I saw Derek Chisora in there, and I thought, oh, interesting. Let's see how this dynamic's going to play out, because I know that the two of them have had some, not heated, but they've had some very interesting exchanges before. What I will say is the watch it's a good watch. I don't usually have a lot of time for Simon Jordan, as a lot of people know, but this actually I did enjoy watching it, some from Derek Chisora's perspective. Some of the things Simon said was interesting, and obviously he's critiquing and pushing back on certain narratives, which you're supposed to be able to do. But the one thing that still sort of irks me about Simon Jordan is this obtuseness that he has, and I don't know if it's intentional or if it's unintentional, like if he actually really doesn't understand what's going on, or he does and he's just like, using it to basically get the views up. But he keeps saying, you fighters, you're such big men, you're these tough men, but you're so thin-skinned, like not an ounce of criticism can be given to you, and if it is, then all of a sudden you want to ban people, and you don't like people, you want to sort of why are you guys like this? But Derek Chisora said it, and I feel like obviously sometimes he maybe doesn't articulate himself in the greatest of ways. That might be some of the punch drunkness, or maybe just wasn't interested enough to go into it. But he ultimately said to him, like, it's not the fact that you're criticizing, like anyone and everyone's allowed to criticize, it's how you go about it. It's constant negativity. It's like, he said it's condescending, it's like you demean people. And it's weird that Simon doesn't understand. He said, oh, so basically we're not getting to the root of the problem, it's about the words that I'm using. Well, yeah, there's a difference between saying, I don't really know if I'll watch that fight, as opposed to that fight's a piece of garbage that I have no interest in watching it either. It's not a well thought out contest, and ultimately the people putting it on should be embarrassed. Like, if you say that obviously there you're leading a big narrative for people to then say, oh, okay, well, if he's got that strong opinions about it, I trust what he says, yeah, maybe I'm not going to watch that one either. And Derek ultimately put to Simon on several occasions, like, if you say certain things and you phrase it in a certain way, that can potentially cost me money. Like, you're playing with my money when you demean certain things. So okay, if you say, oh no, I won't be watching the fight, I'll be going out with my wife on that day, okay, cool, you say that's fine, I'm not going to be watching. All right, as opposed to, yeah, I'm not going to be watching that that turd. It's an absolute travesty, and I've got no desire to see those people. It's not an engaging fight, it's not entertaining, and I don't know who in their right mind would pay to watch it. I mean, I can totally get why someone would then be like, well, hold on, like, there's such a big platform that you're on, you have to realize that your words cut through a lot more than some other people. And then especially when you'll start calling people childish and pathetic attitudes, and like he uses a lot of scathing and harsh words in everything that he says. And ultimately, that's why people have an issue when he criticizes. It's not saying, yeah, I'm not really, too pleased about that one. It's not something that I would have chosen for myself. There's diplomatic ways of saying anything. Now, I've said it on this channel. There's more times when I've been very scathing to some people, and at times I've been disrespectful, and I'll admit it. But more recently, I try to be a lot more measured in what I say. Sometimes, yes, I will still be like, look, it was poor. But rather than me nowadays saying, yeah, that person's shit, I'm more likely to say now, yeah, I've given them a chance, and I just can't really get behind them anymore. I just don't really see where they go from here. I don't see their level being that high. That's fair. And if someone wants to hate me for saying that, okay, well, I'm sorry, but that was me saying it nicely. I'm putting it in a way that I feel is respectful to you. And I think that Simon Jordan just needs to, I think he understands already, but I think he realizes the fact that no one's ultimately gonna do anything to him gives him license to be disrespectful and condescending and snarky and just like harsh and and overly critical, because we can all criticize, we all do, but on public platforms a lot of the times we'll try and tone it down a little bit because we're trying to show respect. And ultimately, when you've got these two people that are putting their life on the line every time they go in the ring, getting punched in the head, getting punched in the body, internal bleeding, like, you know, concussions, whatever, for you to just, you know, trash them, sometimes it's not just their record, you're trashing them as a person. Well, yeah, they're gonna take it harshly because their sport is very different to other sports. So that's my thought on that. Let me know what you guys think. But ultimately, I feel like the guy is, like I said, he's obtuse, whether he's intentionally so or he truly believes that, oh, like his critiques and his criticisms are fair. Like, I don't like a lot of the people that he doesn't like, but even I wouldn't speak to them or speak about them the way that he does. Not unless I'm expecting to get punched in the face or I'm going to have to scrap my way out of a situation. And funny enough, he's a hypocrite, because whenever someone says something about him that he doesn't like, all of a sudden he's on the biggest diatribe of name calling and snarky remarks and backlashing and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, well, you say that they can't take it, but neither can you. So I'm one of those people. I'm not a hypocrite. Like, if I say something about you, I'm expecting you to say something about me, and I'm not going to take it personally because ultimately I opened that door, and vice versa. So yeah, I very much hold myself to that standard, and it's just a shame he doesn't also. And obviously, again, I think part of the reason is he knows that ultimately no one's going to put hands on him, so he can kind of get away with saying what he wants to say. But one day he might say something about or to the wrong one, and that situation might change very quickly. We don't want that, but hey, things happen. Anyway, that's my thought on it. Let me know what you think. And last but not least, so officially announced yesterday that the DAZN pay-per-view will be housing and showcasing the Day of Reckoning card on the 23rd of December worldwide. So not just like the US, but the entire world. I believe it's $39.99 in US and Canadian money. So obviously, like, the Canadian dollar is different to the US dollar, but I think it's $39.99 both places there, and it's $19.99 in the UK, and then in every other territory that it is pay-per-view, it's $21.99, I think, pounds, in the equivalent of pounds. And then I think it will be part of a subscription in some other smaller territories around the world. Now, they did say that there will be some local broadcasting in some other major markets, but that hasn't been discussed and that hasn't been revealed yet. But ultimately, the DAZN do have it across the globe. Now, I would be surprised if TNT Sports don't also get it, but the funny thing is that if they do, whereas their last couple of pay-per-views have been sort of like, I think, like $27.95 or like, you know, $24.95, so they've been sort of in the higher echelons, but they won't be able to charge this one at a higher rate because the DAZN have already put it as $19.99. Now obviously it hasn't been confirmed that they will get it, but I assume they would. However, if they don't, I mean, that's a massive power play from DAZN. Eddie Hearn obviously said, look, well, Anthony Joshua has an exclusive DAZN contract, so he can't, you know, he can't not box on the DAZN platform. Now, I don't know if that also means that his contract means that another platform can't broadcast his fight either, especially as DAZN is global. So it could be a situation whereby in the UK and the US, they're not the major territories that are being spoken about, and in actual fact, in those markets, he will only be on the DAZN platform. Now, if that is the case, number one, that's a big power move for them. Number two, it shows how much of a respect Turki Al-Sheikh has for the DAZN platform. I think he did put out in a press conference his feelings on DAZN and the fact it's a worldwide and it's a global platform. I think to him it makes a lot of things very easy because it's just one place or one hub which is accessible in all the markets that he sort of wants to open up and have a look at. It also then throws into question, well, even though the show is supposedly dealt with by Queensberry, housed by Queensberry, how much control do they actually have of the show? Because they only have two fighters on the show itself, which is Daniel Dubois and Ellis Zorro. Like, the three of the biggest hitters, so to speak, are from DAZN and Matchroom. You know, Dimitri Bivol beat Canelo, very big profile off of that. Then you got Anthony Joshua, still one of the biggest names in the heavyweight division, you know, regardless of wins, losses or belts. And then, you know, Jai Patel, new upcoming, you know, sort of fresh-faced, big, you know, big punching world champion that is starting to, you know, be on the lips of most people. One that is like he's a fan favorite at the moment. So you say that, then you've obviously got Daniel Dubois, who's coming off of a questionable mentality loss in his last fight, after having done a similar thing in his previous fight, his previous step up, you should say. And then you've got obviously Ellis Zorro, who is just, you know, he's an up and comer, so to speak, but he hasn't really been touted to do much past sort of the European level. So when you look at sort of the dynamics of it, you tend to say to yourself, well, really, Queensbury might be running the show in name only, but realistically, like, a lot of the heavy lifting is on Matchroom, and now you're on that platform. That's crazy. And then also, I guess, if you, in one way, you could also say, what a world we live in, where the biggest card that DAZN have this year is being run by Frank Warren. You could maybe run it in that scenario as well, but there's just so many different ways that you can look at this, and it's a strange thing. Like, it's not something that any of us really thought would be possible. But again, it calls into question, well, what are their involvement in this realistically? And is Eddie, like, is it almost a case of them saying, look, Eddie, well, we had made this arrangement with them, so we have to honor that, but give us these fights, and then the next one will be your show, or like next year it will be you. Like, I need to know exactly how it works. But the thing to me that I find hilarious in all of this is, you know, well, you had Leonard Ellaby, you had Frank Warren, you had Bob Arum, all talking about DEADZONE. Like, it's a, you know, it's, you go there to die. It's not, you know, it's got no viewership, it's got no subscribers, it's got no customers. Showtime is now out the door. They ain't got a platform right now. Well, the PBC hasn't, because of Showtime. Apparently Top Rank and ESPN, there's some issues there whether they're going to renew that contract. Then you've got obviously Frank with TNT Sports. You know, there was potential things surrounding that, but they look like they're comfortable for the time being. But now the biggest show that they're housing for the year is on DAZN, the platform that they said was never going to work, and chastise everyone for fighting on the app. All of a sudden the app's taken over everything. It's, I mean, is it poetic justice? Is it karma? I don't know. Shout out to Karma Serene, by the way. Yeah, I'll leave that for you guys to decide. I just find it funny, and ultimately, all I want to know now is it still the DEADZONE or not? Or, you know, that's maybe the next time I see Frank, I might have to ask him, or I'll ask Dev. I should see them next week actually, so I think we'll have to pose that question to them, and just see what they say. But yeah, interesting. Let me know what you guys think about it. Right move, wrong move? Do you want to see it elsewhere? They haven't spoken about what's going to happen to people who don't have an already existing subscription to DAZN, whether they will have to pay and buy a subscription first, then buy that, or if you maybe get a little bundle, $30 all in. I don't know. That's also something I think that will need to be clarified. For me, I'm okay because I've got a yearly subscription. I only have to pay the £20, and that's fine. I've already paid up for the year, so I'm good. But yeah, let me know what you think down below, and I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. But with that being said, I'm gonna leave it there. Get ready to watch Chantel Cameron and Katie Taylor. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you've had a great day. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and until we speak again, it's the Hardcore Casual out.